Hello, my name is Winfrey Agunbiade, and this is the Pageant Show with Winfrey, a platform created to have pageant girls share their experiences with us, as well as learn from each other, and of course, talk about topical issues as it affects the pageant industry. Stick around to see who we'll have next and to see what topics we'll be talking about. Make sure you do follow us on social media. All that detail will definitely be down there. Drop your comments, share it to that pageant girl that you know needs this content. All right, till next time. Bye. For several years, whether school, state, local, or international, the pageants industry has produced powerful and very successful, notable women. We're talking about billionaire Oprah Winfrey, billionaire Linda KG, billionaire Rihanna, Carrie Underwood, Katy Perry, to mention a few. However, the pageant industry is still plagued with very, or shall I say, majorly negative narratives. And the importance and impact is still very, very undermined. Now, today, our task is to literally make you understand why the pageant industry exists in the first place, right? To also address these misconceptions and to make you see that the pageant industry is actually made for more good than bad. Hello, my name is Winfrey Agunbiade, and this is the Pageant Show with Winfrey, a platform created for pageant girls and the likes to share their experiences and also to address topical issues that arise in the pageant space. Today, now, having this conversation with me, this particular bio is very, very long. Let me start now. I have with me a BSc holder in industrial chemistry from the University of Port Harcourt, a model, an actress, an entrepreneur, owning 503 Global, a general procurement company with multiple subsidiaries, one of which is the 503 swimwear brand, a Forex binary trader with over 1,000 mentees, an advocate for women, children, and education. In 2017, she was appointed Miss Grand Nigeria, representing Nigeria at the Miss Grand International 2017 beauty pageant held in Vietnam. She currently wears the crown of Miss Multiverse Nigeria 2022 and also represented Nigeria at the Miss Multiverse International Beauty Pageant in Dominican Republic. I'm not done. She is a native of Ilawe, Ekiti State, and definitely was born on the 5th of March. We'll keep the year private. In Port Harcourt, River State. She enjoys creative writing, reading, traveling, volunteering, researching, and dancing. And of course, I'm talking about the one, the only, the convener of the Princess Agunbiade Spelling Bee, the princess herself, Princess Omowunmi Agunbiade. Please don't give me that, should I say, modest look. Absorb your accolades. Take it in. Take it in. How are you doing today, Queen?
Oh my goodness. I'm fantastic.
You're fantastic. Amazing. Okay, so now hear me read out your bio. How does that make you feel?
I mean, I was like, okay. She first of all said it was gonna be long.
You don't know.
What does she have to say?
And let me tell I didn't read all. I promise you. That was like half of it.
But then, I mean, hearing you read it, I'm like, okay, wait, that's actually me.
That's actually
I did that.
You
I
did all
this.
those.
I'm like, okay,
yeah.
wow, I'm proud. So yeah, it kind of gave me a
yeah.
should I
proud be? Yeah, they're
I'll
not
be like
up.
this for the rest of this.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation and being here to grace our set. Right. Okay, so now, of course, going through your bio, you've definitely gone through. I mean, I think when it comes to pageantry, right? So talk about when I think of a pageant queen that is also like a business, should I say business guru? You actually fit into that, right? In my mind. And all of that. But then again, before we go into all of that, let's talk now about growing up, right? So what was childhood for you? Who was Princess before she came into the pageant scene?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I mean, the moment I received the call from you, I'm saying that if Winfrey calls, I answer. I met little pageant queens, but you're one of the ones who I really respect and admire. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Well done.
Thank you. Okay.
Princess growing up was I remember being 6
Mm-hmm.
and having to do like a school pageant
Mm-hmm.
thingy,
Mm-hmm.
and just really loving the whole feeling of everyone just watching me. I think it was more of the attention for me
Attention.
at the time. I was a pretty,
Yeah.
busybody child, as I say. But
Okay.
everyone would just always say, "Oh, you're Agbani," that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know who Agbani was, but I just knew that she had to be, because they said beauty queen. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, beauty queen Agbani. So
Mm-hmm.
it stuck.
Yeah.
So I grew up feeling very beautiful because of this
Yeah.
being described as Agbani, who I
Agba-
didn't even know at the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my childhood was I'm the second child
Okay.
of 7 children.
Mm.
It's a nuclear family, by the way, but it's a large
Okay.
nuclear
Yeah.
family.
It's allowed. It's allowed.
So my parents are, I would say middle
Mm-hmm.
class.
Mm-hmm.
Did everything they could to make sure that we had a very comfortable
Mm-hmm.
growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But I always just felt like I wanted to do something much more than,
More. Yeah.
exactly I was
Yeah.
seeing, I was
Mm-hmm.
experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely had a very strict upbringing.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents were very no nonsense.
No nonsense.
I
Wow.
had a big personality, and it
Okay.
was always obviously an issue because you had to do what they want you to
Yeah.
do and not
Yeah.
what you think
Yeah.
you wanted to do. I had my rude awakening actually when I went to secondary school,
Mm-hmm.
and I was born and brought up in Port Harcourt,
Mm-hmm.
River State, by
Yeah.
the way. But I'm from Ekiti State,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother thought it was important for me to learn my language, my culture. So
Mm-hmm.
she took me to Ekiti State, so a boarding
Oh.
school,
Oh,
a
really?
missionary, girls only
Wow.
boarding school.
Wow.
And I felt like this was a punishment
It
because
was
why?
punishment. Yeah.
So then we had to cut our hair. I have really long hair, so
Mm-hmm.
and everybody called me Agbani. I'm going to cut my hair. Why? So I was really upset. I think
Yeah.
I was 8, going on 9 at the
Mm-hmm.
time. But I was a very self-aware child.
Mm-hmm.
I started reading very very early, so I was exposed to literature. I knew a lot of things that I maybe shouldn't have known at the age.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the school in Ekiti State, and that's basically where I had to learn that.
Mm-hmm. So now you speak Yoruba.
Oh yeah, I do
My
speak
husband is actually
Yoruba.
from Ekiti State.
Ah, really?
Yeah,
Oh my
yes.
goodness! I mean, that's the best state. So I'm
That's
sure
about
he's a
wow.
solid.
I
he's
didn't
a
expect you to
solid
say
guy.
anything else. So you speak Yoruba. I didn't know you would speak Yoruba for us today.
Oh, of course
Yeah.
I will, because I learned Yoruba as a course in school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so you're learning how to write it. I
Mhm.
can't write it now. Don't ask me. But I think that was a very important step
Yeah.
that my
Mhm.
mom took, because if we lived in Port Harcourt,
Mhm.
obviously we would not have learned how to speak Yoruba.
True.
And now when I go somewhere, people are speaking Yoruba, thinking I don't
That
understand.
you don't ask.
I'm listening. And I'm just like, shit, That's like, have you finished?
Have you
They're like,
finished?
oh my
You
Yoruba.
speak- Yeah, I swear. So that's nice.
So it's the look on their faces. But
Mhm.
overall, I had a very exciting childhood. I had a lot of
Mhm.
adventures. My parents made sure that they balanced the book part, because they were
Mhm.
very heavy on book. I mean,
Mhm.
Ekiti people like book.
Yes, you can
So
say that again.
They were
That's
very
true.
heavy on the book.
Yes.
And then there was me, who liked book, who liked socializing, who liked
Exactly.
all those things,
Mhm.
and it just never really there had to be a way. So I was trying to find balance all
Okay.
through my growing up.
Okay.
But my parents were more of, I don't know what this is about. Go and focus on
Go
your
and focus
studies.
on your studies. Okay.
And then
Mhm.
I think I did something
Mhm.
that probably, should I say, shaped the course of my life. I wrote
Okay.
an essay when I was about
Mhm.
to get into secondary school,
Mhm.
and this essay was my future ambition. We used to have this kind of essays.
Yes, yes.
And I wrote this essay, and I said I want to become an aeronautic engineer.
Hallelujah.
Now,
Did you know what it meant?
Oh, like I said, I used to read a lot.
You used to read. Okay,
So I read an article sometime in the past
Yeah.
about a school
Mhm.
that was I think it was in Kano or so,
Mhm.
where they use like a pilot school, something like that, so you could become an aeronautic engineer.
Yes,
So I like the fact that a lot of people would not know that. So I wanted to pull in what I learned
what
from
you learned. Okay.
make my essay very juicy. As a writer, you have to know how to put those things in.
Yeah.
And this essay was, obviously, everybody was so wild. Oh my god, she's just 9. What kind of
Yeah,
essay?
what
It
does
was
she
so
knows? Yeah, what does she
impressive.
okay.
So then they thought that maybe that was really what I wanted to be. Well, I didn't even know what I wanted to be, but I wasn't sure I wanted to be an aeronautic.
You wanted to impress with your essay.
I
That
was just
all
writing
it was. Fiction.
And then when I
Mhm.
was supposed to go into senior secondary, you have to
Mhm.
pick like a science or art, or and then I was going to art class because I had read all the art class literatures as someone who likes to read.
Yeah.
And I was looking at me like bombastic side eye. Where is your aeronautic
Yeah.
engineer?
Mhm.
So one teacher comes, he's my namesake, his name is Agunbiade as well, but we're not
Mhm.
from the same state.
Mhm.
He's like, don't be afraid of our science class. You can do it.
You can do
In
it.
mind, I'm thinking I'm not afraid, but that's not what I wanted. But anyways,
Okay.
I eventually
Mhm.
ended up studying science
Mhm.
in secondary school.
Yeah.
So that's basically how I found myself as a model who loved to do fashion and beauty,
Yes,
but who was
yes.
also studying Industrial
Yeah,
chemistry.
industrial, because then again, that is a course that I know is not an easy one.
Yeah,
right?
it's
We talk
not.
about
It's not. It's
chemistry.
not.
So tell me, how did you go through all of that? Like how you went to University of Port Harcourt
Yeah.
again, and I know definitely there's certain schools that you know that when you go to, like it's definitely not. It's not a walkover. It's not like a
Yeah.
private school. No shade.
No shade, but shade.
No shade, but shade. Yeah. So how would you say you went through? I mean, studying. I mean, also, I think your pageants. Did your pageants dreams also start from university? So how did you balance that? Because I know that's usually a very tough situation, balancing school and then pageant stuff.
You know, it's kind of sad because the first issue that I encountered was the issue of people's judgments.
Okay.
Right. I will say that a lot of my lecturers and even my classmates,
Okay.
they just did not understand. They felt like for me to look and appear this way,
Yeah.
there has to be something missing in terms of my brain.
Yes.
So there was always
true.
this thing that this girl can never know anything.
True.
So, and I felt like at that point in my life, I was trying to, just do my thing. I was tired of trying to prove, because when I was younger, I wanted to prove to my family, my parents that, I could do this and do that.
Yeah.
So why do I have to go to university and then still have to keep proving things?
Yeah,
so I was just done with the whole, there's just, and I mean, I love makeup. So I'll go to class.
I'll
using
make
my
done.
brows be done. my lipstick will be popping.
Yeah, your heels will be.
And that was a color blocking season. I was like, so think through this. And everybody's looking at me. I always do so much.
Like, attention. Are you lost? What's going on? Yeah.
And then you can always tell that they just felt like you can never, make it. I actually had a lecturer tell me one time that do you seriously think that you're going to pass chemistry when you're pursuing this modeling thing? Basically, what he was trying to say is beauty, brains are mutually exclusive. They cannot coexist.
They can coexist.
And that was very insulting, because I'm like, when I started pageantry, I met a lot of girls that I found very, intelligent. And I'm like, this bias of, beautiful women cannot have brains and all of that. Where do you guys get it from? Like, it's so tired, you know. So basically, that was my first limitation. Everybody even my lecturers thought that I couldn't pass. So even maybe when they're marking my script, they probably mark it with this prejudice that I beg this probably has copied or something. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but I know that I literally had to fight the urge to, should I say give up, because I was already tired of in fact, when I was about to graduate, I had a very crazy situation in school. I never talk about it because I'm happy that it was done with. But I literally had some of my results like withheld for no reason. That thing where you just have one drama happen in like public school. And it was just really stressful. But I'm happy I was able to overcome it, and I was able to get my BSc Industrial Chemistry, and it's a badge of honor, because anybody that sees me, I want you to know that I studied chemistry.
Chemistry.
Don't look at my small body.
My makeup, or my heels, or my lashes. Yes, of course. And to be honest, I can totally, I totally agree with you. I can totally relate to that. I studied law at the University of Benin. And the truth is that you even paid attention to people that were saying that me, they already thought I was going to fail. It was not and it's yours. I think, okay, I mean, your parents, I think the same thing. My parents were also very strict. My father, Deepa pastor, I say he was a military man. My mother was a military nurse. So like everybody, like there was no power words. So my own case was that you were even aware. You grew up as an aware child. I didn't grow up aware. I had elder sisters and all of that, and the same pattern. Okay, go to school, come out, marry, continue your life. Do you understand? Literally, that pattern was expected of them, and of course, expected of me. Do you understand? So then, to be honest, when I was in school, I wasn't even thinking of all that. So we grew up, or rather, I would say I grew up in a fear-controlled environment. So it's not a situation of, okay, you're thinking of what you want to do. No, what is daddy saying we should do? That's what we're doing.
So how did you
find it? So I don't even, sometimes I really don't know. I think I just got to a point where, you know what, I think with the way I just lived my life, people just automatically just saw me as a rebel. Because my sisters, my brothers, they all were doing what they were meant to do. But in my case, okay, first of all, I was the only girl in my family, because I have two elder sisters, that went to like full-on boarding school, and that was in Ibadan, right? And then after that, I went, and it was an Air Force school, and the boys also went to Air Force military. But I went to University of Benin, which was a public school, as opposed to my other sisters who went to Babcock private schools. Do you understand? So I think from there on, it was just obvious that, you know what, this one's pattern.
It's
It's
different
not
from
going
the
to follow
other.
the other ones. And even while I was in school, I didn't think of pageantry. I get people were saying, "Oh, you do this." Even the form, my first form, I always say, like, it was someone bought it for me
Oh,
and literally
really?
forced me to go.
So it was like a school pageant.
I'm telling you, it was
Oh.
a school. It was meant to be a school pageant.
Okay.
University. Okay, so the first one was for a department or something like that.
Okay,
So of
yeah.
course, we didn't take it. But I was second runner up or first runner up. I think second runner up. And then the first major pageant I went for was meant to be Miss Uniben,
Mhm.
but then again, it didn't hold that year.
Okay.
And then eventually, the person was like, "Oh, okay, we want you to represent Uniben at Miss Universe Nigeria."
Okay.
So that's where that happened. I'm like, huh? Represent what, who, how, where, why, Johnson. And I was like, no, please, my father is a pastor.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. But like, I spoke to my sister. My sister was like, oh yeah, do it. And I think so. I think it was from there I became aware. After I won, I was like, oh, okay.
Also, you won Miss University
Nigeria in 2012.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you won it without even being aware that you wanted to.
I'm telling you, even when I was on, I went there, I wasn't prepared.
Interesting.
The person that made me go for it, literally, that spoke to my sister and told her, oh yeah, she would take care of. She literally said she would take care of everything. That was like Antonia Ahana now. Tony Jackson.
Coach Naya.
There, yeah, Coach Naya. She was literally the one. She was the one. She said, I have to represent University of Benin. And then she was like, no, I have to literally go for the pageants as well. She got everything I needed.
Wow.
Like I went to camp. I said I was just, you know, when you say you go as yourself, that's literally how I went.
And you won as yourself.
And I literally won. A day before, I didn't even know what dress I was going to wear, what national costume I was going to wear. Nothing. She literally did the whole run around.
Oh my God.
And got it.
She must be an angel.
I'm telling you, she was. I'm like, do you understand? Like, there's some people that walk into your life, and when they come, you're just wondering, like, are you serious?
Okay.
Do you understand? You didn't even know you needed them until that point.
Exactly.
So I think that was then when I won. I'm like, okay. It was a light bulb moment, and I'm like,
So,
okay,
like, I might actually have something right there.
Something might be. You don't understand, but then again, I had to deal with the whole family situation after then.
Alright.
But anyways, we're still talking about you and your pageant. So, what was your first major pageant experience?
Major? Okay, so now when you say major, I would say the first pageant I did was outside of school pageants was Face of Girl Power Africa.
Okay.
So it was a Port Harcourt pageant, but it was supposed to have like an African theme because we represented different countries in Africa.
Okay.
I remember representing Namibia and having to get a Namibian cultural costume and all of that. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I was 17 at the time.
Yeah.
And I needed my parents to sign a consent form because I was, underage.
Yeah.
And you can imagine parents that didn't want me to do pageants, we're trying to get them to sign that. I was trying to hide to do my stuff,
Yeah.
But I was a part of a modeling agency at the time. And my parents were aware of this modeling agency, even though they were not in support. They were still like, so my dad and my mom and the owner of the agency, they will always have this back and forth. So, well, when I told them it was her agency, I think they got comfortable with her. So that's probably why they allowed me, because it was her agency that was organizing the pageant.
Okay.
So a lot of the girls from the agencies enrolled and other girls, and I did a pageant. I didn't even know if I went in expecting to win, because I felt like I was probably the youngest girl.
But you won.
I won it.
Yeah, you won.
And my mom was like, okay,
that's
my daughter. My daughter is the queen.
I think for me, that is the most, I don't even know what to call it. Like, why do parents do that? Like, why?
It's like you're not really interested, but the moment the success comes, you're like, okay, that's my child. That's my child. So I think it's just normal. People just like when something is, when success, comes from something.
Yeah, what was your dad's reaction though?
He was proud.
He was proud.
He was so proud. I'm like, okay, side bombastic side eye. But I think that's probably when they started to even support me more, seeing that she likes this thing and she seems to be excelling in it, and that's probably what every parent will do when the child is doing something and excelling. You want to throw your weight behind them and just support them more. And that's one thing that I think really has helped me in my pageant journey. My parents have been now fully supportive of the entire thing. Even though there's still some things that they will probably be like, no, we don't like this one. We don't like this one. But they became supportive right after when I won that pageant.
Oh, that's good. But mine still took a while though.
Okay.
Yeah.
They still went on.
Because after I won, my father got a call by 5 a.m. That morning, because the pageant finished around like 2 a.m. So all these relatives, one of my cousins called them to congratulate them. And the thing is, so I had aunts and uncles that always suggested that my sister and I either go for advertising or go for pageantry. I just said, I go, but everybody knew the deeper life standard. So most times they even bring it up. It's probably like as a joke. So definitely a call coming in by 5 a.m. Congratulations, sir. Your daughter has won Miss. my father is wondering, like, first of all, the timing. Like, why are you calling so much? Do you understand? And then that it was obviously just to tell them what was happening without telling them what was happening. And it was Christmas that period. And the interesting thing was that we resumed in school. So Uniben then, I think 200 level, I was going to 300 level. So I actually traveled to school. The pageant was in Abuja, and I live in Abuja. So I traveled to school. The next day, I traveled back to Abuja. Then I went to compete. And for some weird reason, my parents had never come to visit me in school before, like randomly. But that period, my sister was telling me of how my parents were literally in Benin looking for me. I'm like, I don't understand. They went to my hostel. They went to that they couldn't find me.
And you were in Abuja competing.
And I was in Abuja competing. Do you understand? And so my sister just had to be telling, don't worry, we spoke to her. She's okay. She's going to class. So they had to literally play all of that cover up and all of that. And it was very, very interesting. So finally, when they found out about it, I had to literally gather, because I'm the last one. I literally had to gather all my siblings. I arranged them from the oldest. I was literally behind the last person. And then we went home together. And of course, my dad was still upset. And I think at the point, I think he made a statement like, I think what really got to me was the fact that you couldn't even tell us about it. I'm like,
we told
tell
you. Would you have agreed?
Yeah, so I was just like that. And then I won a car, and then I got a car. And I think just as every Nigerian parent, I always felt, as a young girl, if you have a car, you'd be distracted when you're in school, all that kind of stuff and everything. So there was all that conversation. I remember one of my uncles literally telling me that I'm lost.
Oh,
he literally said that this one is lost. Like,
because you have a car.
I'm telling you, like, the fact that I'm in all that demonstration. He literally said that this one is lost. Let's just be praying for her.
Forget about this one.
Let's just be praying for her.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, it's great. But I think parents are just being parents because they're just scared. It's not like they just think they know how things should go.
Exactly.
Do you understand? And then
it's also like they don't understand what these things are really about.
Yeah.
So they only know what they hear in the streets.
Yeah.
And the word on the streets are not enough to really educate them on about what the things are.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I'm happy that you had your siblings, rallying. Imagine you were the first child. That was literally going to be nowhere.
I'm telling you, yeah. So let's move from that part. So after you won, what was the experience like for you with organizers and all of that?
After I won the first pageant, I'll say I was happy to have won the pageant, but then I started to see another side of the industry, which I wasn't prepared for, and it wasn't the sweetest because I wanted my prize money.
Yeah,
and that had to be
prize money. I think we need that episode, prize money.
I'm telling you, that had to be a hassle. Yeah, and I couldn't understand why I had to hustle for it because I won it. So there was that, and then my parents were involved, of course. Thankfully, as a minor, they could throw your weight behind me, so they were able to help me get part of it. And then I saw that there were obligations expected of me. I didn't know that before, too. And I liked the I think it gave me responsibility. That's what I loved about it. I love being in charge of something. It just makes me being productive. So I liked that, and I wanted to do a lot more. I wish I could have done a lot more actually with that crown, but by the time I was ready to hand over, right, I didn't do what I wanted to do. And so I promised myself, if I ever get a chance to win any crown, I must make sure that I do something that I would always say, while I was Miss This, I did this, because amazing. I think it just shows that you're a responsible person. True. True. Because you're given a title. It's a position of leadership. So you must actually do something. That's how leaders do. Very true. So that was actually the thing. Amazing.
I think I love how, should I say tunnel vision you were, even at that young age, right? And very focused, knowing that, fine, this is the title, you need to make use of it. Because sometimes you actually see queens, and we'll probably talk about that, you see queens that even after they win, sometimes really big and serious titles, pageants, they actually don't, I don't know, is that maybe they don't plan for it, or like they have ideas, but they don't know how to execute it. That's a totally different conversation.
I think it really could be anything from the organizers or from expectations versus reality to, like you said, not preparing for it, to not understanding what pageant is really about before winning that. It could be many things. So the topic of the day, we're talking about why pageantry exists or why pageants exist. So what would you say? Why would you say pageants need to exist? Let me put it that way. Need to exist. Okay, so pageants, in my opinion, celebrate and empower women. And in a world where women, for the longest time, I'm talking about pageants for women, right, by the way, women for a long time have been, should I say, suppressed? right? This is a way to not only celebrate their femininity,
True.
but also to empower them to become more useful people in the society. So
Very
that's
true.
one thing. That's one core reason,
Mhm.
aside from other things like helping people to embrace a more healthy, lifestyle. Of course,
Yeah.
that's the part of preparing for
Mhm.
the swimsuit segment. You're going to
Yeah.
have to go to the gym. That
Yes.
can really
Yes.
support an individual into becoming like a healthy,
Yes.
having a
Person.
healthy
Yeah.
lifestyle.
True.
Yeah.
True.
And then also the parts of leadership, which is really important to me.
Mhm. Mhm.
So then there's this thing of when you win a pageant, you're a leader. Automatically, you have
True.
a platform.
True.
So there's this, it builds capacity for leadership in
Mhm.
women,
Yeah.
right? Another thing that I also believe that pageants do is that they help people to understand competition and collaboration, right? So say collaboration over competition.
Mhm.
You know how we meet other girls on camp. You do some activities with them.
True.
One person wins. Also, you learn sportsmanship.
True.
There's preparation process of pageant that really also makes you learn how to organize your own life.
True.
There's
True.
so many things that pageants really do. I think in my own personal experience, pageants have really helped me to become more outspoken,
Mhm.
right? I
Mhm.
really wanted to work on myself in my public speaking and all of those things, that kind of thing. I only probably looked into working on that because of my
Because of
involvement in
pageants. True.
pageantries.
True.
Also, it also helped me to become more active or
Mhm.
maximally involved in the social impact space,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
is very important.
Very
Everybody has
important.
to not
Very
just
true.
leave, you also have to
Mhm.
contribute to the world that you were a part of.
Yeah.
So pageantry, those are people have this projects. There's the ones who are doing something on climate change, on women empowerment,
True.
on gender
Mhm.
inequality
True.
and employment. There's so many things that people actually advocate
True.
for.
True.
Thanks to pageantry. And then there's also the part where of course women get to learn how to take care of themselves, which is, I love that part. When you
Mhm.
see a woman who's done a pageant, you can tell.
You can actually tell, and I actually feel, even if not for anything, I say this. I think as a slogan very soon. Every girl should literally have a pageant experience, even if it's one pageant. Because what I noticed, okay, so back then I used to work at an office, right? And there was this particular intern. She was just there. I mean, she was an okay girl, but like
Mm-hmm.
nobody paid like attention. And
To
like she
her.
just did her thing. Yeah, coming. Sometimes she just come in looking same that way, but I'm like, okay, fine, a young girl and all that. And I think for me, the interpretation was that this one has not discovered herself yet. Do you
Yeah.
understand? But eventually, she probably mature into that.
Mm-hmm.
And she literally went to participate for a pageant. And she came back and she was a different person.
I should change.
The way she spoke, the way she stood, the way she like comported herself, everything was different. And I'm like, so that's the thing I'm seeing. And I'm like, so why is this? And this is a question to you as well. Why do you think that, despite the fact that we see all these things, because we have been in this industry, we know how well we need to work on ourselves to actually get to that point. Why do you think people don't see that? Why do you think others, outsiders, still don't see it? Why do you think they still see pageantry as being more for bad? Just for instance, now, people, I literally read somewhere, someone was talking about how pageants are literally an avenue for people to pimp girls out to men and things like. Why do you think that is a general perspective people see pageants through?
So I think, right, that could be looked at from two different angles,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I like to say that I'm a bit of a very logical thinker, right? I like to say that
Mm-hmm.
you can't really say why people think the way that they
They
think,
think,
but you
yeah.
can only assume. So I would
Mm-hmm.
assume that number one is people tend to focus more on the bad things than on the good things. When you meet someone, you try to reason with them. A lot of
Yeah.
people more complain about what is going wrong in their life than highlight what is going right. That's
Going
just
right.
like a
True,
typical,
true, true,
a
true.
human
Mm-hmm.
process. But aside from that fact, is also the fact that I don't think people really expect poise from women in my culture,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, to some people, it's actually intimidating. They would
True,
rather a woman who has not discovered herself
true,
than
true,
one who has discovered herself. So you
true.
see, some girls are just poised, but then
Mm-hmm.
just because of the fact that they're poised and they know themselves,
Mm-hmm.
they're being judged or called
Mm-hmm.
prostitutes or whatever,
True, true.
just for the fact that they can look good. You
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen them engage in anything that
Mm-hmm.
suggests otherwise,
True.
but you just put that label on them because it's
Yeah.
just you're not used to people
Yeah.
having that
People.
kind of
Yeah.
compartment.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also the part that I also think that it could probably be a thing of jealousy, because I don't see why you don't like good things.
Why you like good things, right? Right, right,
you
right.
know
True.
but now talking about the accusation of pageants being used as a pimping ground, I'm not
Mhm.
going to completely throw that away, because if we're being honest with ourselves,
Yeah,
that definitely does happen,
it does.
you
True.
know. But that's not the reason why pageants exist, and that's
Mhm.
not the main thing that pageants do, and that's not what all pageants actually do.
Mhm.
So the honest truth is, there's some bad eggs. Just
True.
like in every other industry, we have bad eggs,
Mhm.
and we want to fight to, flush out those bad eggs.
Yeah.
But the ones that are not doing that, I pretty much believe that they far outweigh the ones that are doing
Are
this,
doing that. True.
bad thing.
True.
And the good part of pageantry definitely outweighs this
Outweighs, yeah.
pimping business.
Mhm.
And I also believe that it's not only about the organizers too.
Mhm.
If you don't want to be pimped, nobody will pimp you.
Thank you. Please, can you increase the volume?
If you don't want to be pimped,
Increases. It's not that
nobody
loud.
will pimp you.
Increases louder.
Pimping comes from a place where you put yourself in a position that you believe that you don't have enough abilities to
Mhm.
create income,
Mhm.
and that the only way that you can create income is by now having to give your body to someone else. And if you want to do transactional sex, you don't need anybody to be the broker,
Ugh.
right? You can just go on the street and
Do it. Exactly.
so
Mhm.
I think it's unnecessary, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you know if you know what you're made of, you know what you're
Mhm.
capable of.
Mhm.
You see, women are so, oh my goodness, I just did an assignment, right,
Mhm.
this morning,
Mhm.
right, about what women are capable of. And when you look at the whole essence of femininity, there's so many layers to us,
Very true. Mhm.
a man, let me just say, a man, for example, right, who wants to go into business. You know that there's a lot of men are into women's business.
Yes, of course.
Do you know why
The
they're
pageant
into
industry, for example.
for
The
example,
pageant
right?
industry,
Why are they
yes.
in our business? Because they know how
They know, of
commercial
course, women are.
femininity is commercial.
It is.
So
It is.
if you as a woman cannot find a way to make money from being a woman, then
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So now I have this thing, right? I have this experience I actually want to share now. So when I was actually deciding to go for MBGN, someone actually called me. Okay, not someone. Several people called me, but this particular conversation was really, really like. I mean, the volume was louder than the others, and the conversation went like this: Winfrey, why are you doing this and everything? You want to go for MBGN? Do you know how many people go for MBGN and they have to sleep with this person and they have to do this and they have to do that? And I'm like, okay. So the truth is, I believe the person was speaking from the point of concern, right? Yeah, I mean, I know you. I know this is not the kind of person you are. Why do you want to soil your reputation by being a part of this and everything? And something became very clear to me that, see, the truth is, no matter what happens, right? If you decide to do something, people are going to think whatever they're going to think, first of all. But I know the thing that was loudest on my mind was that, see, and I thought about it, and to be very honest, because of the credibility I placed on the person, I literally had to sit down and think about it. That, okay, see, okay, this is actually true. We hear about these things, right? But I now thought to myself, I'm like, okay, fine. If I say I want to go, I go to camp now. They now tell me, Winfrey, before you win, you have to do this, do this, do this, do this, and do this. I say I will carry my slippers, my load, everything light and heavy, and I will go home.
No, nobody's gonna put a gun.
Exactly. So I'm like, unless it's a situation where it now becomes a crime, right? Where you're holding me against my will or literally forcing me to do stuff I don't want to do.
Absolutely.
Like, that is, and that's what I tell every pageant girl. You don't have to literally have certain worries, to be very honest. They approach you, and that, but then again, even the society definitely that we actually exist in, literally are not used to hearing no from women. So that is another thing. And to be very honest, some women, we pageant girls, have actually carried that mentality with us. Do you understand? Because the truth is, I was talking to some ladies and I tell them, I'm like, see, just imagine every girl that is being offered a crown for sex or for money or for anything says no. What happens?
That would, I mean,
just and so I'm like, I think more than anything, we need to understand the power we wield. Just as you said, a lot of men are involved in women business because it's very commercial. But the women themselves don't know the power they actually wield to actually change their narrative and change their stories. Most times you see girls being desperate because they feel like this is the only opportunity they will actually. This is the only option I have. This is the only. He said I should do this, and that is why I decided to do it.
You see, sorry to cut you. You see a woman literally. I have people send me DMs. I'm like, oh, please, I need money from you. And ma, it's typical, you know, when you're ma, I'm like, ma, you look older than me, but okay. Ma, please, I need money from you. I don't want to sleep with this person for money. Why are you telling me that?
If you want to please sleep with him, like please.
First of all, right? Why the fact that is even an option already for you?
You're already considering it.
That's because
so you don't need. Yeah,
it's like
you don't need me to not give you money to actually do what you actually really want to do.
Why? I don't know why people like it's so.
So I think it's kind of blackmail. So you just have that in your mind, like, okay, fine, you didn't help me, so that's why I did this and everything.
And the funny thing about these things is, it's like the effort you're going to put into that activity to collect that money, you can put it into something else to collect money, the same money too. So if you're speaking, that's what you want to do. Don't guys it as because I don't have money. That's not why.
I'm telling you,
that's not the reason.
Very, very true.
And honestly, right? It's I think this whole thing is really, that's why I'm very passionate about women empowerment, right? Like you said, some people think they don't have any option, and true. I don't like to speak from privilege, but I came from a family that was really comfortable, so maybe that put me, put me in a better position in my
mental,
life.
Mental state, exactly. Better mental
space, financial. Because when you don't have money, you mostly cannot really make like logical decisions,
true,
especially when you're looking for money for survival, which is very,
true.
True. But I think that the more effort needs to be put into empowering women, because the more women are aware of who they are, what they can do, the more their skills are honed, the less we're going to have women being taken advantage of. Because this is mostly like a case of, like you said, right? Someone tells you, oh, come ask me for a crown. You walk away because I don't need a crown to define who I am. I already know who I am. Like, with or without this title, I'm still going to remain Winfrey. I'm still going to be successful. I'm still going to be, whoever I want to be.
Yeah.
But, some people go into this place as a way, that's how they want to define themselves, with that crown. That's the definitive, power of their life. So it's like a do or die affair. If they don't win that crown, they feel like the world's going to come crashing down. So whatever, it takes is what they want to do.
True. So, I mean, discovering yourself as a woman, which you're saying is actually very, very important. Very, so on that note, we'll wrap up that segment and we'll move to the next one, which is actually hot buttons. Thank you for staying with us. You're still here watching The Pageant Show with Winfrey. I'm still here with our beautiful princess. Yes, her name is Princess and she's a princess. So yeah. So now, so I was explaining the hot button to you, right? So the hot button basically is a segment where we actually talk about controversial topics that happen in the pageant industry, because we have a lot of them, right? So today we'll be addressing the myths and misconceptions of the pageant industry, because I think it's very important. I think these misconceptions are a major deal breaker for people who actually want to go in but don't have enough information, or the information they have out there. I mean, bad news sells faster, right? So that's actually what they thrive on. So now the first one, or before I go there, let me even ask you, so generally, what misconception would you say has been the biggest you've had to deal with as a pageant queen?
Can I pick one?
Anyone,
because there's so many.
Yeah, there's so many.
Then they look so big to me. So I said earlier the thing about when people assume that beauty and brains cannot exist and kind of coexist.
Yeah.
So that's unnecessary label in pageant girls, that you have to be super duper dumb to do a pageant. It's like
the dumb kind of situation.
Exactly. And then there's also the part where people assume that for you to be doing beauty pageants, you must be a prostitute, or you must be being pimped out, or you cannot have any moral, you must be very immoral. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, so I think those two are really the biggest ones. True. And then I think the third one will be that you are wealthy, you are rich.
But you look rich now, you look wealthy. But as you are well, even if you particularly, you are wealthy.
Don't set me up. I have enough DMs asking me the best school fees in pounds and dollars.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm just kidding, but I'm just like, these two really are the major misconceptions that I think beauty pageants have.
Yeah.
So I think another one that I think is a misconception. I don't think is it a misconception. I think it's something that I just don't like, that is probably now becoming normalized, is that the title or the crown is the prize, right? When someone wins a crown or a title, think about all that they've had to sacrifice in terms of resources, time, in order to get into the camp. And the winning should be, there should be something. People go in to win something, right? So the whole idea of, because you won the crown, don't expect us to give you your prize money, I think is something that we need to, we need to not have that.
So now that one is targeted at
the organizers,
right? And that actually makes a whole lot of sense. And it's funny because we actually I've had conversations like that, and beauty queens have actually shared this same point of view, where they actually feel some angst from the organization, and they feel, okay, you've won now, you've won. What else do you want us to do?
What
do you like? Come on, like, see, if you tell me I think for me, maybe it's the lawyer in me, right? But then again, if you say something, right, you use something to advertise something, people came for it based on what you stated there, then do it. Do you understand? You tell me, you put a publication out there, oh, the winner gets. Don't be loose with your comments. If you have the millions, put the millions there. If you don't have it, leave it. Do you understand? And the funny thing they don't get is that even if you write that, okay, winner gets 200K, 500K, you still have people to come. Do you understand? That will participate. But then again, I guess there's just this idea of, I don't know, leading people astray and telling them, oh, the money here, the car here, and all of that. And then when people actually go as far as saying, oh, yeah, sometimes the organizers actually plan for it. Okay, I think my production eye has made me see things a certain way now that, see, you might actually plan for certain things. Do you understand? But then again, eventually you might not be able to deliver on it. But I feel there is still an exception because you're saying this. So whatever you do, whatever money you make initially, keep it aside for that purpose. Do you understand? And I think some organizers also feel that if they give you the money, they're just enabling your lifestyle. Or do you understand? Like
something like it's such a Well, I'm hopping on what you said right now. I think I don't want to also completely and entirely blame the organizers, but where I'll blame them is don't promise what you can't
fulfill, of course.
Yeah. But I also think that as the industry is hugely underfunded, most people don't want to invest in the industry.
Yes.
And that's why we have a lot of pageants with very chingom budget, so they can't even afford to keep the girls in like decent places. So if you can't really afford to host a pageant, just don't.
Simple. And now, thank God, we're in 2023, so there are a lot of things happening online, so you can decide to do like an online pick and all of that, an online contest. But I just believe that if you say something, deliver on it. But then again, I'll also stretch this conversation onto the point of, okay, fine, as much as yes, we believe that pageant organizers have the obligation to do certain things, right? There's certain things that cannot be compromised on. One of such is, for instance, you're organizing a pageant and then you're asking your queens to bring in sponsors. Why?
A queen or a marketer?
Did I have it? My sister. Is it me and you that had the pageant vision?
If I wanted to be a marketer, I would go to the bank.
Exactly. So I don't know. So that's something that seriously, I think pet peeve. I think I'm going to definitely even add that, like major pet peeve.
Tickets.
Exactly, selling tickets. Because first of all, you're putting in these girls in very, very funny situations and circumstances, and it doesn't make any sense, because the truth is the age range of pageant queens generally, is what now? And they put it there. 16, 17. Do you understand? And most of these girls, they're either about to get into school, or they're not even in school yet, or they're in school. And then where are they getting funding from? Most times they get from their parents and their friends. Shout out to parents and friends of pageant queens. You guys are the
real MVPs.
You guys are the real MVPs. You understand? Because they're actually the ones that put their necks on the lines for these girls.
Yeah.
So because of that, you're putting these girls in compromising situations, which actually doesn't make sense.
Actually.
As a pageant organizer, certain things should be on lock. Your pageant's production, right? Your sponsors, all of that is your responsibility, because the girls are still buying form. It's not as if the pageant is free. Do you understand? So why should I be the one? It's normal. My friends and family are going to come for the pageants if they can. Do you get? So that one's automatic ticket sales for you. And to be honest, if I start the pageants, I honestly believe that if you're a contestant, your family members, at least 2, should enter free. That's my personal opinion. But then again, anyways, just in case it doesn't happen like that, let me just I honestly believe that. Yeah. So there's that. Then okay, so now let's talk about this whole. I think we've addressed the situation of paying for the crown. Yeah. Right, paying for the crown or sleeping with somebody for the crown. So maybe just to make it clearer, can you just share your thoughts on that?
Okay, so
payments for the crown or sex for the crown?
Dear pageant girl, because I'm speaking to the pageant girls now, right?
Speak to them. They're in camera.
Well, like we said before, nobody's gonna put a gun to your head, I believe, to give up your money or to give up your body for a crown. So ask yourself, is it really worth it? Because you can actually become whoever, whatever, with or without the crown. The crown is an additional title, to your name. But also there's so many other crowns and so many other titles that you can also, go out there and bag. So if one comes with a condition of giving up your body, I don't think it's definitely not worth it. I know. I don't think. I know that it's not worth it for you to give up your body for it. And also, right, I just think that when you do give up money or your body for the crown or the title, it doesn't you don't get that. There's no winning satisfaction because you know that you bought it. You did not win
There's no
that
integrity
title.
to that
You
crown.
didn't win the title, you bought the title, and so what was the point? What was the point of competing or contesting in the pageant? So yeah, I think it's completely not worth it. And also it could be used against you later in the future.
In case you didn't know,
don't be in that situation.
Go online and Google pageants scandal.
Exactly. There are pageants that would allow you to win if you deserve to win without you having to give up your body and your money. So save your money.
Exactly.
Start a business with your money. Buy yourself something nice. Don't give any pageant organizer.
Yeah, of course.
Because they have more money than you.
They have more money than you. And if you literally you bring 1 million now. So I just think about it. So, I'll carry the 1 million and go and buy a car, or carry the money and go and buy the car. And I'll print it now. Print is not hard. I'll just put Miss
my name.
Miss my name. Do you understand? So why are you stressing yourself? do you get? And the annoying part is that sometimes pageants actually do that. You might pay, and then I know I've heard of situations like that. Somebody comes and has a higher bidder,
and then you have to now.
And then they not give
top up your own.
Either you top it up or
they give you
run out. And then another one that I think is worth mentioning is the fact that sometimes you literally go for pageants, probably the big ones, right? And several people will promise you several things. People that have no business, that know nothing about the organization of the pageants, they will tell, like a cameraman or a security person will tell you, we are the ones that are selecting this thing. They will come and literally. I'm serious. So things like that happen.
I mean, they happen, but nobody's gonna fall for it.
No, I've actually this cameraman situation is something that happened,
and somebody fell for it.
They fall for it.
You don't see person carrying camera.
They will tell you that they are the ones. It's confidence. You know anything they say, anything you want to say it with confidence. I'm not even joking with you. And the funny thing is that these men actually brag about it. They will come and tell me that I win for that girl. No, forget.
Wow.
These things actually happen, and they know that they have no say in this situation and all of that. But the girls, because of desperation, they actually fall for it. Then eventually, you now come out. By the time they announce somebody else as winner, you say,
not be disappointed and say that.
So things like that actually happen. So it's a different thing is if you're actually even getting the value that you are paying for,
in cash
but when you're not even getting it, that is a totally different story entirely.
So I think the whole idea is just don't be desperate. Really, desperation is not going to take you.
It's not going to take you anywhere. So now let's address the situation now coming from the contestant's point of view. So now this situation of organizers having their responsibilities, and now you have definitely. I mean, you represent Nigeria at the Miss Grand International in 2017 and also Miss Multiverse. So of course, definitely preparing for pageantry is definitely not something that you are new to, right? No. And I know it comes with a lot of pressure. And I think for you, right, something that I know you've succeeded in doing really well is branding yourself properly as a queen. I know you take up the responsibility, just as you said, you know that the platform has been given to you and then you run with it. That's something I really admire about you. And I think a lot of girls don't understand that. Fine, we're not saying your pageant organization should not give you your winning money or your prize money. We're not saying your organization should not support you. But I want you to throw more light on you supporting yourself as a queen after. Do you understand? You're the one going for the international pageants eventually. Do you understand? When they will crown you. Do you understand? So that responsibility. So now let's talk a bit about the responsibility of a pageant queen. Yeah, to preparing for the international pageants.
Okay, so I feel like saying thank you very much for that question. Okay, so I think for me, I'll speak from a personal point of view now. For me, right, even before I ventured into pageant, I always saw myself as a brand.
Okay.
So the first thing is, how did you see yourself? So I see myself as Princess Agunbiade. Everybody wants to see me. Everybody wants to know what I'm up to. So that's even with or without a title. So now, right, I'm given a title and I'm going to represent my country.
Yeah.
Right. My face is going to be the face of the person who is representing Nigeria. Yes, I'm carrying Nigeria on my across my chest.
Yeah.
But this is my face, right? When you see me, I'm the one.
Yeah, the one.
Right.
Yeah.
So imagine going there and not being my best.
Yeah.
Right. It will forever be my face.
It's forever
in that picture.
Exactly.
Not being my best.
Yeah, being your best.
So,
true.
That's my brand that is also being, should I say watered down? And so for that reason, I don't think about what the people that I'm supposed to be working with, what they're doing. I think about how do I want my brand to look like? Because in the next 5 years, people might not remember, oh, she went as Miss Multiverse or Miss Grand. They said, Princess was at this competition and look how she dressed.
Exactly.
So your brand is going to after you have given up your title, your brand still remains. So you have to always think about it as, how do you want people to remember, your brand, when people think about your brand. So when I'm preparing for a competition, first of all, for anybody preparing for pageants, international, locally, it's crunch time. It's always very, what's the word to use now? There's so much, there's so much.
It's intense.
It's intense. Thank you.
Preparation
That's
is
the word.
intense,
It's very intense. So you're obviously going to be on that pressure, but that's one thing that pageants do to you. They help you to learn how to, thrive even under pressure. So
especially under pressure.
Especially under pressure. Because everything down to when you go into camp, you're also going to be under pressure.
I'm on stage. That's the biggest pressure of all.
After that, you win.
The pressure increases.
They turn on the heat.
Yeah.
So that's basically, I just know that I'm preparing to represent. I'm preparing to be Princess Agunbiade on that stage. So I must, who she, I must show who she is, her quality, what she's made of, right? So apart from the beauty part, which is of course your hair, your dress, all of that part, which is super essential and important, and of course your performance, which is your catwalk, your physical fitness, those are also super important. And what I like to make sure that I really don't leave behind in preparation is my brain. I'm an advocate. I have a organization actually called BBB Women.org. We're launching very soon. We're currently working, and it basically means beauty, brains, and the bag. And when I said when I was 17, I hated when people always made it look like I had to either be beautiful or brilliant, and I'm like, why not both? So. I don't want to go into a pageant and then not represent a beautiful, smart woman. So it was important
for
me.
Don't forget the bag. Yeah.
So it was important for me to always make sure that I spend a lot of time researching on, things that I might be asked in the pageant, and things that will also help me stand out, because every girl's going to be beautiful and drop dead gorgeous in that competition, darling. So why should we pick you? True. And so I make sure I take out time to do preparation for my public speaking, interview questions, personality, because also they judge your personality as well, and all of those things basically. Now when it comes to my wardrobe, we expect that the organizers would, chip in, pull in designers and all of that. But that's also where you come in. Nobody wants to crown a girl who does not have, any kind of capacity. They believe that you are, already know your way around a bit. So the organizers, right, they mostly they want to crown girls who have capacity, who can, pull some weight on their own, regardless of what they are also offering. It's like, we're adding to you, but what do you have?
It's like, come with your 100, I come with my 100, and then
we make it to 100. Perfect. So that kind of thing. When you're going for an international pageant, I'm sorry, you have to know how to speak to the designers, right? Because you're going to need a lot wardrobe. Oh my goodness! If you're trying to self-fund it, good luck to you. But you need a lot of help. So having relationship in the fashion industry is going to really help you, because you can tap into that and do some collaborations, because at the end of the day you're representing Nigeria, so you're also showcasing this pageant girls. Please, I want you guys to I'm coming back to that, but I'm coming back to that, because I want to say something very important that everybody needs, even as a pageant or a fashion person. So basically, right, you need your wardrobe to be properly to reflect your brand. You don't want to go there looking like what you don't want to be, known for. Exactly. So, and also remember, you're not competing against people in your country, people that have the biggest support internationally. These countries are really pageant freaks, and then Nigeria is just starting on our pageant journey. So you want to be able to at least be competitive when you get there. So there's these things, right? And what else again? I spoke about the intellectual part, spoke about the wardrobe part, preparation for your activities. I'm talking about your catwalk and your physical fitness. I want to encourage pageant girls to get trainers. It's not enough
that's another one
that
right?
you have good catwalk. I know you can walk. I mean, of course, you want because walk. You can walk. You can you're a strutter, but there's just something about having an already rehearsed parasela that makes you appear very coordinated on the stage. You know, when you just
coordination.
do your normal walk,
True.
you just look like a girl who can walk. But when you have a parasela that has already been practiced in your dresses, you know, in different angles, you know exactly how you're gonna look on camera when walking. So it just really amps up your confidence and puts you in a better position when you're competing. So have a coach, really. It's gonna really help you. And of course, the fitness part. Girls. I know we in Nigeria, we're not really, you know, into that whole active, you know, lifestyle. And I'm also guilty. I literally, but you know, you're going to compete where you have girls who they've all their lives they've gone to the gym every day.
Even if they don't, even if they haven't, they go for surgeries.
Oh, I mean, there's that part too, you know. But I'm, you know, if I'm being very honest with you, I realize that a lot of those girls, it's like it's not an effort. It's just like that's just how it is.
That's how they
just go to the gym.
They just go to the gym, yeah.
Gym is just part of the lifestyle. And then on the other hand, here it's like not really a very common thing yet. You have to like make an effort to go to the gym.
That, yes.
So knowing that you're going to be with this kind of people in camp, you want to make sure that you're going to look best. So you have to start preparing because they may crown you and then you're going to the competition next week.
Next week, very true. So now this actually brings me to another, I'll tag it as a misconception that, okay, fine, if I want to go for a pageant this year, right? I will start preparing this year, right? Or I want to go for a pageant in September. By June, July, and I'll just start.
July is the most passive.
That is something pageant girls do that. So, and the funny thing is that they always love it. I mean, for instance, when Katrina won now, she actually spoke about how, since she was 5, she had been preparing for it. So maybe she had been. Fine. Maybe not, of course, she wasn't going to the gym from 5. But my point is that people have this mentality all their lives. They have, you know, mental work is literally the major work you need to do. Do you understand? So they literally already have a brain work that is already in their favor as regards preparation and in regards mental alertness, pageant wise. But as a pageant girl, you were sleeping and then doing maybe something random last year. Then this year you want to wake up, you want to compete this year in a pageant this year.
A big pageant.
The truth is, in Nigeria, maybe like 2-3 years back, you could walk away with it. For instance, I will share my story. I told her how I literally went on camp. I didn't have anything.
You didn't know anything.
Maybe 2-3 years. 4 years, 5 years back, that could work. But now Nigerian girls are woke.
They're woke.
And they are not playing with you. And now I think something I also love that's happening a lot in the pageant industry, we're having people repeat.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So the people are even going for MBGN or going for Miss Nigeria or going for Miss Grand. They're not people. Exactly. They've done it before or done another major pageant before. And these are things we have seen on the pageant stage. Do you understand? And like consistently they go for this one, Miss World, you see them on Miss Universe stage the next year and all of that. So better be awake and aware. If you want to go for a pageant, start preparing. Feed your mind. I think that thing you said cannot be overemphasized, because I think even as a human being, you don't have to be going for a pageant for you to know what's happening around you, for you to literally be vastly read. I think you cannot, words, books are things. I wish I read as much as you. I don't. Right? I mean, your last photo shoot was literally your birthday was your birthday shoot one. It was inside library days. So I wish I wish, but no, but I know I put in the effort. So number one, know what's happening around me in Nigeria. Know what's happening in the world. Do you understand? Even if it's 30 minutes every day before your breakfast or during your breakfast and all of it, just catch up. A little information here, a little information that you have no idea how far that will go when you're being asked a question.
I agree.
Another thing I think a lot of pageant girls get wrong now is they don't think. What I mean is this. I've literally had people send messages and tell me that, see, I'm going for this pageant. I'm preparing my pageant question. I'm trying to rehearse pageant question. I have a list of questions. Please, can you answer these questions for me? I'm like, sister, why am I the one? Am I the one on the stage? Am I the one on the stage? I've literally had girls in pageant competitions literally say, "Oh, we heard this is the question we're going to ask. Please help me answer it and send." I'm like, you know what? The best I could do is give you a template. The best I could do is tell you where to come from, to tell you the emotion to evoke. But I cannot put the words in your mouth. Because first of all, it will be obvious they are reciting. Do you understand? And you need to own your questions. You need to be original. Even if it's not the story. A lot of these foreign girls, they lie. But when they are lying, their lie
is believable.
Because they are living the lie. So you need to also get to that point. Another thing I need you to also address before we go, because we actually have to go soon, is, okay, a lot of people ask this question as well. I'm 5'8" and I can't fit on a pageant stage. Oh, I'm not going to be noticed. So what would you say is the best response to something like that?
Okay, so as a pageant girl who is just literally in that same reality.
Yeah. How tall are you?
I'm 5'8" actually.
You're 5'8", you see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
you have a living example.
I'm a living I'm just a little above 5'8", but I'm actually petite, right? And funny thing is that a few years ago I wouldn't wear this because it actually makes me look even smaller than I actually am. I want to wear something that's gonna make me look bigger.
Big and you're over that now.
Nice. But these are the things that I think I saw a page on Instagram just yesterday. You see, it's funny how this thing works. And the person is advocating for more short models on actual runways, not beauty pageants, but runways. Saying that if petite women can buy clothes, designer clothes, why can't they model?
Why can't they model? It's
exactly
the same. Exactly.
It makes sense to me, because I'm like, what do pageants stand for, really? And for what celebrate women?
Yeah.
All women are not going to be 5'9" and above.
Exactly.
Right. So are you saying that 5'8" woman does not deserve to be empowered or celebrated?
Exactly.
Or are you saying she cannot be a good leader or she cannot be a good spokesperson? That's really what pageants are about. So I think it's time to really do away with all those height restrictions. And quite frankly, a lot of pageants are now beginning to get rid of all of those size and weight and height barriers.
True.
So it's now left for you as the person who is 5'8" or who is 5'6" or who is size 14 that's going to compete in the pageant. Now what's going to make you stand out? Because you cannot rely on, oh, I'm size 10, so I'm going to stand out. Because I'm sorry, that's not going to earn you the crown. So you have to go into that competition with something that is going to make you different from every other girl that's in the competition. You're going to have to make sure that you do a lot of work on yourself. Like Winfrey said, right? It's mostly about what you have up here. People can really tell when you know what you're doing, when you know what you're about, and that conviction is actually what makes somebody want to give you the crown. Because I want to work with an intelligent queen.
True.
I want her to be able to bring value to my organization.
True. So
if you're just a pretty face, I'm sorry. If I'm trying to pimp you, maybe I am like, but if I'm trying to do a lot more than that, then I want someone who knows what she's doing, who is into her personal development, who is outspoken, who is confident, who is brilliant, who understands all about branding and also all about every other thing that has to do with pageants. So
very true. Makes a whole lot of sense. And just to add on,
it's not about the height, really.
Just add onto that. A lot of people will say, okay, fine, but then you can see now in the past, the pageant industry, look at their queens, look at them. I know at the point it was like they were literally. I know the misconception was that they were crowning fake queens. Yeah,
I heard that one.
Yeah, then it now became they were crowning tall queens. Do you understand? Some people even have the idea that certain pageants go with certain skin colors. Some like darker queens. Do you understand? Some like more curvy queens and all of that. But in all of this, I feel first of all, as she said earlier, know yourself, right? Some people might fit into a non-bikini pageant. Some people might not fit into a bikini. Do you understand? So know the kind of person you are. Know what your goals are. If you believe, okay, fine, I'm here as a pageant queen, but I don't want to have all that exposure. Do you understand? Or maybe your religion or this or that doesn't allow you to do certain things. Then know the pageant that fits that lifestyle. Do you understand? If you know you're more of a paparazzi, just like even the Miss Universe, Miss World situation, we know
different pageant systems.
Exactly, 2 different pageant systems. We know Miss World crowns the more down-to-earth girl, the more charitable girl, the more friendly. We know Miss Universe is paparazzi. They don't care about anything. As long as you know your angles, you dress well, all that kind of stuff.
Sassy,
you have to be sassy, you have to be on point, you have to be just out there, be willing to. So also know and this is actually something when I did the pageant course, this is actually something I actually spoke about. Just very important to know your personality type.
And know
what pageant fits you.
For.
So you're not trying to be like another girl because you're not comfortable. You don't know.
That's another topic that needs to really be
I'm telling you, you're not going there saying, oh, this person's doing like this or you do like that, because you're only the original version of yourself. You can only be the original version of yourself. And trying to be somebody else is going to make you like a second option and a lower option. Now, still on the situation of height, of the misconception of height. Yeah, so whether or not it has been practiced or have you seen it as a pattern in certain organizations, no doubt a taller girl will be spotted on stage before a shorter girl, right? By looking initially, right? And sometimes you say a more light-skinned person will be spotted on stage because of all the lights and
The
everything.
lights, yeah.
But then again, there are several other ways to counter that. Now, why do you think pageant girls wear sparkly dresses or bright colors? Do you understand? And also, something I think is very, very underrated. I've gone for a lot of pageants as a pageant judge, and I have to literally be telling the MC, please tell the contestants to smile. Do you understand? You really underestimate what your smile can do. Even if you don't think, if you're a pageant girl or you're thinking of considering a pageant, there's nothing like I don't have a good smile. We don't care. Smile is like that. Do you understand? Because you might think that, but you really don't know if that is what's giving you an edge. Do you understand? And make sure your smile is genuine and comes from within. Do you understand? So there are just certain things you just have to do to balance up and make everything work better. So now, finally, the final misconception we're going to talk about now is smooth sailing after the crown. I think you mentioned that. After the crown, there are pressures that come with it, right? And there's a misconception that, okay, after you win, you're made, that's where it ends. And people don't understand that that's where it actually starts. So what would be your take on that?
Okay, so before I'm going to go into before after the crown. I'm just going to come back into when you just win the pageant, right? Or even say before starting the pageant. Maybe I'm a little bit too deep, but I don't go into anything without knowing why I'm going into it. Right. So if you're going for a pageant just because of the fact that you want to be called the queen, maybe you need to reconsider, the time that you're gonna waste, because it's like a whole year of, committing your time to something that you don't really know why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're going into a pageant, let's say you have a personal, a project that you want to let me say, you know how Miss Earth is really climate,
exactly, climate driven,
right?
yeah.
There's a reason why I never did Miss Earth. I've never been in that. I love climate change, but it's not something I'm passionate about.
Yeah, it's true.
Like that. So I don't have so much. So it will be like a square peg in a round hole. It's not gonna fit.
Yeah, it's not gonna fit, true.
So that said, as a queen who has always really loved, the idea of, climate change and all of that. And that's been your personal, advocacy since when you were maybe a certain age, and you go do Miss Earth, you know already that, okay, I want to plant 1,000 trees during my reign, or you have a goal that you're trying to achieve, and that's it's just Miss Earth is a means towards achieving that goal. Right? You probably have a project that you're probably doing as Miss Earth, and then you continue it after because that was your initial goal. That's one way to continue your should I say, that's one way to use a pageant to put yourself in, or should I say make you advance your goals. That's the word I'm looking for. That's one way, right? By having a goal that's in line with the pageant you're going for. Right. Another thing is, I don't believe that pageants are careers.
Yes,
pageants are,
it's not the end, it's a means to an end.
Exactly. It's a way to advance a career. So if you have a career, you want to have a career in, a lot of beautiful girls go to pageants, and from there they get scouted into maybe modeling agencies. Some of them, they get to do something in the fashion industry. Some of them can also even go back to maybe being lawyers, practicing lawyers. Some of them go back to being practicing bankers. But I want pageant girls to look at this pageant as it's not the be all and end of all. It's just one. It's a platform that kind of elevates you, propels you.
Yeah.
So you must have something. There has to be a working goal. There has to be what you're trying to achieve, and they're using that pageant as a way to make the journey faster. So if there's nothing, then when you finish the pageant, you sit down and you're looking. I'm like, okay, now my reign is over. Night is drawing near.
On that note, right, I'm going to say this. So I literally had a situation where someone was literally meant to go, crown queen. She was meant to go. She had a job interview, and she was really considering whether she should go for a job interview or not. And I'm like, all right, it's because you're a queen. I'm like, I mean, you know the feeling now. For instance, let's say someone goes for Big Brother now, and you come out, say, there's a job interview. Should I be going for a job interview? I'm a celebrity. Do you understand? People are going to work. Sister, the type of supper that will choke you. So there's nothing like that.
That's another topic, really, right? But I think that's probably like a different.
Yeah, that's a totally different thing. But, so we need to, like life after the crown.
That's
like
right.
We need to have all that.
So like essentially, you need to have a goal, right, or your life plan that you already had even before you went into the pageant, right?
Yeah.
After the pageant, you should continue your life plan.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, right, don't go into a pageant just because. Go into a pageant because you have found a way to fit your goal or fit it into your goal, so that it's actually propelling you closer to your goal. Because if it's not, to me, I feel like you just wasted that whole 1 year. Because pageant is, there's the months before preparation and before the competition. There's then the 1 year after you win. So let's say 1 year, 1.6 years of your life, right? You wasted it because you just wanted to just be popular, and then you don't even get popular enough to capitalize on the popularity, and then you're now back to square one and thinking, what
so
do I
them
do?
fall into depression.
And one thing about pageants is that it's a bit addictive. It's a bit addictive.
Yes,
I'm not honest, because you like the feeling, you like the
attention,
the
attention, all of that.
the thrill of being on the runway, meeting of new people, the opportunity to travel and network and all of that. The glitz and glam is so addictive. And you find out that you're in pageants 6 years, 7 years. Let's say you start when you were 19, and then 7 years, 8 years, you're going through different systems, which is not a bad thing, if you like it. And then you're not 28, and you're like, okay, wait.
What have I been doing with my life
next?
and my time?
And then all this while, all you did was just go from pageant to pageant to pageant to pageant, and you never really had any plan for your actual life.
Yeah, or pushed
and
anything.
Then you begin to feel like the pageants was a problem. No, it wasn't a problem. It's just you never really had a plan. You just thought that's going to be a way to, a way out of, it's like you thought it was just going to be
a quick way out. Exactly.
And it's not a quick way out.
Very true.
So despite my involvement in pageants, which are really heavy, by the way, I've always had my businesses. I've always continued my education. I've always, been involved in other things, so that even when pageants are over for me, right, I still have my life is still, running.
Yeah.
So I don't want young girls to fall into the trap of, because there's a lot of glitz and glam, so you don't really know what's the back end is like. You just enter thinking that, oh yes, once I win the pageants, that's it. Then you start spending all your resources, all your time, everything of your life is literally geared towards winning that pageant. And then let's say you try the first year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year, you've wasted 4 years, you did nothing else but try to win a pageant. So please have a goal that you're working towards. If you're a student, don't leave school. Take your education seriously. It's such a proud thing to be, a queen who has a degree. It also elevates you, as a person, because it shows that you are not just beautiful, but you're also, beauty and brains, know. And then, if you have a job, depends on what your agreement is with the organizers. If they're gonna pay you a salary or something every month, and they don't want you to work a job, maybe they have duties for you to fulfill. Maybe you don't have to work, but I'm sure you probably do that before you even pick the pageant form.
Yes.
Right, but if they don't have a plan for you, my dear, please don't quit your job.
Don't quit your job,
because they're not gonna feed you. They're not gonna feed you. And then if you run the business, create time for your business. I know it's hard because you don't have time. You don't have to other obligations that you need to also fulfill. But don't forget that after 1 year, you have your real life to face.
Yes.
And if you've done nothing in your business for 1 year, once again, they will not say, because she was our ex-queen, let's put her on our so you have to work and plan like someone who actually has a life outside of beauty pageants. And like I said, it's better if it's in line with your goals, because then you know why you're doing this thing.
Very true.
Because make sacrifices, they're worth it. But when it's like just because I want to be popular, it begins to be it's an inconvenience for you. So
very true.
I know a girl reached out to me. I was telling me, oh, as a pageant queen now, I don't know what am I supposed to be doing, and apart, and I told her, I said, what's your future ambition? What do you want to be in future? And she kind of started a bit and didn't really have an idea. I said, you know what? Off your phone for a week.
Yeah.
Stay in your house. Think about what you like. Have a plan. You cannot be moving around this world not having a plan. Person A and person B can be walking right now. Person A is probably going to the front of that light stand. Person B is just going nowhere. Who will get somewhere faster? Person that has to be direction. So if you don't have a direction, you keep perambulating, you keep moving around, and you basically just waste your entire life. So don't think you're too young. Make a plan, stick to it, and see you at the top.
Amazing. Very, very well said. Thank you so much, Princess. I want to add something though. Even if you don't win, right? If you have a plan, you still will not, the shock will not get to you so much.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because you just know, okay, fine, this didn't happen the way I thought it will happen. But then again, the plan is still there. So you still figure out a way out of it, or a way to make it work, and a way to make it happen. And of course, if you have a life beyond pageant dreams and your
Pageantry.
pageant ambitions, you definitely have something to fall back on. And that is very, very important.
Exactly.
And on that note, we end this amazing episode. Like, my brain is loaded.
Really
Thank you so
fun.
much, Princess,
Thank you
for
so
honoring
much
our
for having
invitation
me.
again. Definitely always a pleasure to have you around.
Oh my
and
God.
we have a lot to talk about. So
do.
you definitely will be coming
We
back.
do.
All right. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for having
you
me.
for watching the Pageant Show with Winfrey today. It was an amazing one. Make sure you leave your comments below. Make sure you let us know what you think about it. Make sure you follow. Make sure you share to all your pageant girls out there. You really don't know who needs it. In fact, they don't even have to be in pageantry because I believe we dropped serious live tips right here. So yeah, anyone you love, send this video to them. All right. We love you. Until next time. Bye-bye. Okay, so we're still here. It's still the Pageant Show with Winfrey. I'm still here with Princess Omowunmi Agunbiade. With Omowunmi. Where's that name from?
My name.
And where? Like what state is it?
It's Ekiti
It's
State.
Ekiti as well. Because I have Omowunmi and Amedu.
You have Omo or you have Oma.
We have Omoyeme.
Omoyeme. Omowunmi.
Omowunmi.
And it means the same thing actually.
It means the same thing, Abi. Yeah.
So Omowunmi.
Anyways, Edo and Ekiti, to be honest, they're not actually far off because we share the same food, pounded yam. Our food is also pounded yam, so there's actually a lot. I'm telling you. So, anyways, back to what we're talking about. So now we actually want to do a segment where we actually play some games, right?
Yeah.
And now you have two options. It's either I throw a pageant question at you and you answer it for me as if you're on stage. Exactly. With the poise, with everything. Or you share with me your most embarrassing pageant moment. And don't give me any padded embarrassments. No. I want the one that's when did your dress tear? Did you fall down head first? Yep.
Okay. I mean, actually, like the one of giving me a question, but let me do the embarrassing moment because that's like more. There's actually there's more education out of that one.
Okay.
Really.
Okay.
So my most embarrassing moment is actually I never had my dress tear or my shoes break or any of those crazy things. Thank Jesus. I think mine was I did a pageant. Right, and it was like I was a heavy favorite to win the pageant. Like everyone was literally like all the leaderboards. I was there, you know, and it already made things awkward because when you were that girl, everybody feels like it's gonna win the pageant. The other girls in camp somehow just there's this energy like
towards you like what are you feeling like?
You know exactly. Even when you're not feeling like you're just there to win like them, you know. So the pageant happened and I didn't even make it in the top 15. And to be honest, for me, competitions are competitions, right? You don't know what the outcome is going to be, regardless of how hard you prepare.
Yeah.
So
true.
it was just like another competition for me where I didn't win, and it was, to me, honestly, I wasn't very upset about anything. It was just like it happened. Next, you get, and then what was embarrassing, however, was the reaction of people. When I say that, popularity or being popular, being supported is a double-edged sword.
Hey.
Take it, and take it. Because how do people go from this girl has all the qualities to win the pageant to now literally trolling me? I was the one who did not win. Why am I being trolled? You know, I'm getting troll messages in my DM. Wow. Oh, you thought you're better than the other girls. Or you thought you were these.
Are you
won't
serious?
You rest after you already did Miss Grand? Other people, you know, all these kind of things. And that was even chill. But what really like made me embarrassed was how, oh my goodness, I literally I go on my page, I post a picture, I'm seeing some very unpleasant comments, and I started feeling like someone even said something like, oh, she had to have a very bad character or attitude, something like that. But the person even said he knows, because it was a guy, it was a male page. I don't know if it was a male or female, but a male page, troll page, of course. He knows that I have a bad behavior and something like that. Just made up some kind of funny story. Yeah. And I was just embarrassed at how, you know, the reaction, not about the fact that I didn't win, but the way people reacted towards the, you know, competition not going in my favor. And that's, I want to talk about that. Like, I want people to be more sensitive towards pageant girls because it takes a lot of confidence, a lot of, you know, boldness to put yourself out there, to go on a stage and represent a state or whatever, just be judged. Yes. So they already deal with a lot of self-criticism, a lot of
Yes.
judges,
True.
watching them.
True.
They don't
True.
need your extra judgments.
True.
They don't need your extra. Someone was like, oh, maybe because of her legs like this. I'm telling you, the things I
Wow.
saw,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
No matter how confident you are, they were enough to really shake my confidence. I was 23, a young woman just trying to find myself and know myself. And then I definitely didn't need all of that. So I was embarrassed at how how the people took the the thing. So that was the embarrassment.
Okay. So now that she has mentioned it, I think you're talking about MBGN, right?
Yeah.
Your participation during MBGN, and it's weird because that was not even your first pageant, right? You've had a title crown. Do you understand? But that was literally why everyone was literally singing your praises and all of that.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I think it's also another important lesson there is to know that people will fail you. People will legit fail you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
1 minute you feel you have the heart of people, and the next minute is once you're not like where they think you should actually be, they'll literally just drop you and all that. But I think something that's very important that I want to ask you, what would you say? I mean, you shared your experience about how you felt the girls were felt towards you during camp.
Yeah.
Now, how would you say you came out of that? First of all, what would you say was how did you feel when you realized you didn't place? Right, because you did. Princess is going into anything. She's preparing like 150%. Do you understand? So how did you feel with all that preparation? How did you feel when you actually didn't place? And then how did you get out of that mental space of okay, because you actually did try again, like with another pageant, right? And all of that, like. When I say try again, now you have a title and all that. You're still interested in pageantry. So how is it that you maintained that I don't know, tunnel vision and focus to still be in the pageants industry and pageant space?
Okay, so first when I realized I was not gonna place, I think I'm a very spiritual person. Some people just know some things, in their spirit. You just feel so. I feel things very strongly. So let's call it intuition. So when they were calling the girls out, I think they had called about 7 girls. I knew I was not gonna be called. And they have 15 girls in the top 15.
Yeah.
I'm very big on affirmations and what you say is your reality and what you think in your mind. So this was not a case of, you were thinking negative. I was thinking positive thoughts all through, but I just knew, right? I don't know how, but I just knew. And so I had enough time to make peace with the entire thing before, like we kind of disintegrated and like going backstage and all of that. So when I went backstage, and even though like chaperones were like, everyone was acting shocked, and that thing when there was this girl that they were still going to win, and now she were the top 15. So
everybody reacted.
I had time to put myself together. So I would say I didn't really get into the feelings of the whole thing right there at the event. I had friends who had won titles. So for me, I had more interest in supporting and celebrating them in that moment, right? More than anything else. So I didn't process my own feeling. I just put it aside, So it was when I went back home, my sister was literally crying on the stage, rescuing me. My mom came, my dad came, they were so disappointed. My dad didn't want to take pictures at all. They were not happy, about the whole judgment. So when I went home, I felt this is a very honest truth. I definitely felt disappointed because I literally paused my business for 3 months.
Oh wow!
Because I couldn't at that time. I was doing NYSC and doing my business, and also so it was like there's too much. I had to put something, and it had to be and if you know me and my business, you can't separate us. So it was such a huge sacrifice I had to make for the pageant's sake, and it just felt like I was now thinking, maybe I shouldn't have, because I lost a lot of money, I shouldn't have kept my business aside, I just had a lot of feelings and all of that. But it was normal. I just saw it as another pageant that, didn't go the way I planned it.
Yeah.
And I liked the girls that, were picked as the winners. I didn't think that they did not deserve it.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I want pageant girls to also know. Not because you didn't win. I think the person that won is not a deserving winner.
Yeah.
You guys can all be, everybody cannot hold the title, but for them to be in camp, it means that they obviously had a chance at the crown as much as you did. So that was basically it.
Yeah.
But what really affected me was the way people really like trolled me. I didn't expect to be people just like sympathize with me,
Very true.
Some people actually did. I said, life, we focus on negative things a lot. Even me, I do. I'm guilty because I had a lot of people that messaged me, even if you send me that message, all of that. But I couldn't handle the trolling properly. It made me I didn't cry, but it made me sad. I was sad and I didn't like it. But anyways, ultimately from that experience, I learned that it's not only about preparation, it's not only about how good you are, it's also about timing. And no matter what I must have, no matter what I could have done, even if I had walked with my head and my legs were on the flying, floating in the air, if it was not my turn or my time, if it was not already ordained by God, it would not have happened. And that was just what it was. So I saw that it was not in my preparation. It was just in the timing, and that's why it didn't happen. So that's what I took out of the pageant. And I honestly thought I was done with the pageant industry because I was heartbroken that I lost so much business, right? So I just felt like, let me just go back into my focus on my business thing. Even though the goal, right, was when I started pageantry, I had a goal in the beginning, and I hadn't achieved that goal. So I was like last year. This is 2023, right? 2022. I do like a goal, setting and goal revision. That's on every beginning of the year. So I was revising my goals, and I saw where I had written down my initial goal where I started this whole thing, and I'm like, you haven't accomplished this goal. I literally was in business, deep in business from like 2020 up on. So I literally had time for no fashion or anything else. It was just business. So when I saw that goal, I realized that I was not done with the pageant industry. The industry still owed me something. I still owed it something. Everything I wanted to do, I had not done it yet. And I just said I need to go back. And that's why I went back on the pageant. And
how did Miss Multiverse happen though?
So I would say, once again, timing, divine intervention. So I was looking for an opportunity to come back into the industry after I saw that my goal. But I was also very into business. I had a lot of people that I was now mentoring a lot of people, and it's a lot of work. So I was trying to figure, how can I still combine this with pageants, rigorous activities and all of that. So I was trying to see, okay, which one can I now go for, but also the goal I really had, which one really like works with that goal.
Perfectly with it.
And so I was just trying to figure out the whole thing. And I just got a call from Coach Naya saying that Precious Okoye, another pageant queen, had suggested me they're looking for a queen who is an entrepreneur, who into leadership, and also as a beauty queen. And she was like, this is your girl. So when she called me, I was like, okay, I thought about this thing at the beginning of the year, but I put it aside because I didn't have a plan. And I was kind of hoping that I would just forget about it. And then this came. So I was going to say no. Actually, I was going to say no. I told my mom, and my mom was like, do you think that it came to you because do you think it came to you by your own doing? Right? My mom was like, anything that comes to you, right? Most of the things that come to you, in fact, almost everything, someone or a force of the universe, and in her own opinion, God, because she's Christian, I'm a Christian, so she's like, God brought that thing to you. So why do you want to now tell him that he doesn't know what he's doing? So you think the girl did not think about any other person? Why did you come to her mind? And because I didn't speak to Precious like in months, so it was like it didn't look like it was just, it would look like it was actually like a divine timing kind of thing. So I took the opportunity, and I was ready to really go all in. But also after preparing for months, we really couldn't go to the international pageant, and that was another boom because it took a lot of efforts to pull funds, plan everything. In fact, I think that's my most stressful pageant preparation process yet.
Wow.
This particular one, I shed actually shed tears in Miss Grandsha, but this one I shed tears too. And it was much more because of how expensive things are now. And then there was a whole visa processing thing that almost like you couldn't control. You can control things like maybe the money, the clothes, there's some things that you can't control. It's like the frustration is
very true.
So and despite all my efforts, and my team was very, oh my God, God bless them. Despite all their efforts.
So the visa wasn't granted.
The visa was granted.
It was granted. So
but we still couldn't go.
We're just doing
if I tell that story, we'll stay another 1 hour here because it's such a crazy story.
We need to call. We're definitely having you tomorrow. Please, what are you doing tomorrow?
It's such a story.
No, we actually we need that story.
I have that visa in my passport.
In
fact, I was on my way to the airport.
Wow, you were on your way to the airport
with my boxes in the car.
No way. Oh my god.
I'm not even joking. If I tell you this story, it's crazy.
Watch out for this interview.
You know, like,
We're coming
wow.
back for
This
it.
is the story I'll give you. Like, it was a wow.